We're all being influenced all the time in ways we probably don't even see. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really look at the mechanics behind that influence. And more importantly, when it crosses that invisible line into outright manipulation. Oh man, have you ever had that feeling? You agree to something, you say yes, and then maybe an hour later, maybe the next day, you just get this sinking feeling and think, wait, why did I do that? We've all been there. And it usually happens because, well, we weren't really the ones in the driver's seat. Let's dig into that. So let's start by thinking about manipulation like a set of invisible strings. Now, the point here isn't to get all cynical and distrust everyone. Not at all. The goal is to become more perceptive, to actually see those strings so you can be the one to decide who's in control. So what's the real difference between just, healthy influence and something darker, like manipulation? Well, think of it this way. Influence is a two-way street. It's about finding a win-win, and it always, always respects your freedom to say no. Manipulation, on the other hand, that's a one-way path. It's all about control, and it works by finding your vulnerabilities and pressing on them for someone else's gain. Okay, so how does this stuff actually work? Well, manipulators are so effective because they're not reinventing the wheel. They're just exploiting the natural shortcuts our brains take every single day. You can think of them as back doors into our decision-making process. Let's look at a couple of the biggest ones. First up is a huge one, the reciprocity principle. It's this deep, powerful social instinct we all have. If someone gives you something, you feel this urge to give something back. It's why that free sample at the grocery store makes you feel just a little bit guilty if you don't buy the product, right? It's the foundation of human cooperation. But this instinct can absolutely be weaponized. And this is where a favor stops being a gift and starts being a tool. When you hear something like this, a kind act has just been turned into a transaction. It's designed to create this sense of manufactured debt, pressuring you to say yes to something later on that you'd probably otherwise say no to. All right, next up is the scarcity principle. Our brains are wired with this really simple but powerful equation. If it's rare, it must be valuable. This immediately triggers that intense fear of missing out, FOMO. And that feeling can totally short-circuit our logical thinking, rushing us into decisions before we've had a chance to really think them through. Come on, you've heard this 1,000 times, right? In commercials, from salespeople, this phrase is a classic. It's all about manufacturing urgency by putting a ticking clock on your decision. The whole point is to get you to act on emotion, that fear of loss, instead of logic and careful consideration. Okay, now that we've got the basic principles down, let's open up the manipulator's toolkit. It's time to put some names to the tactics that, I'm guessing, you've probably already run into in your own life. Just think about that for a second. That moment where you bring up something that's genuinely bothering you, a valid concern, and instead of being heard, your feelings are immediately dismissed. Your whole reality is questioned. That feeling is a massive, massive red flag. For the first tool we're going to talk about, that tactic, it has a name. It's called gaslighting, and its goal is actually pretty simple, but it is incredibly destructive. It's designed to make you doubt yourself. By chipping away at your confidence in your own memory, your own perceptions, a manipulator makes you way, way easier to control. So, you gotta listen for these classic lines. That never happened is a direct denial of your reality. Your imagining things is a straight-up attack on your sanity. And the classic, I was only joking. That's the perfect way to deflect all blame and make you feel like you're the one who's being unreasonable for getting upset. All right, let's switch gears to another scenario. This one doesn't feel so much like an attack on your reality, but more like a weight, a constant, heavy feeling of obligation. If you've ever felt that, it points directly to our next tool. And that tool is guilt tripping. Basically, it works by turning your own conscience, your own sense of morality, into a weapon against you. The goal is to make you feel so bad, so responsible, that you'll do whatever they want just to make that awful feeling go away. So what does this actually look like? Well, it's that person who seems to be keeping a running scoreboard of every favor they've ever done for you. It's constantly bringing up your past mistakes. And then there's that killer line, if you really cared, you would, which basically ties your actions directly to your worth as a person in their eyes. It's an incredibly powerful emotional lever to pull. All right, so we can name the tactics. That's a huge first step. But how do you actually spot them in real time, in the heat of the moment? Here's a really simple, practical framework you can start using right away. Think of this as your go-to, in-the-moment mental checklist.
First, just pause and check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Gut feelings like confusion, guilt, or pressure, that's important data. Don't ignore it. Second, try to separate the feelings from the facts. What is actually being said or asked of you? And third, check their motives. Is this request really about mutual respect and a shared goal? Or does it seem to be mostly about them getting what they want, maybe at your expense?
And really, all of this leads us to the most important takeaway of all. Awareness is your armor. It truly is. Just understanding these mechanics is the single most effective way to protect yourself and your autonomy. And I really want to make this clear. The goal here is absolutely not to make you paranoid or to distrust everyone around you. It's about being perceptive. This knowledge isn't meant to build walls. It's meant to empower you, to help you see your interactions more clearly, and to make sure that the choices you make are truly your own. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you have this new lens, you can start to see these invisible strings everywhere, not just in personal relationships, but in advertising and politics all over the place. The real question isn't just seeing them. It's, now that you can, what are you going to do with that perception?